Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we're doing an Uber Eats review. It's been a while since we made an actual gig review, and to be honest, this is one I've been looking forward to a long time because it's one of my favorites. So, as you know, there are plenty of gig apps out there, and you could sign up for as many as possible, and you should sign up for as many as possible. But one of those apps is Uber Eats, or more specifically, Uber Driver that has Uber Eats. It's one of the big three in the food delivery industry, and in this video, I want to go over the requirements to be an Uber Eats driver, the experience of working as an Uber Eats driver, and if it's worth it or not. But with that said, let's go over a quick disclaimer. The content of this video does not contain and is never intended to be legal, business, financial, tax, or health advice of any kind. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is advised that you conduct your own research and consult with qualified professionals before you apply anything you find online. I also want to be clear, this is not just based on the app itself, but on my personal experiences with the app, and what works for me as a person may not work for you. So that is a major factor in developing this review. So with that said, let's get started. Let's start with the requirements for sign up. First off, if you're going to be a delivery driver, you need to be at least 19 years old. Not 18 like DoorDash, 19. You have to have a 2-door or a 4-door car. Now what's interesting is that they don't specify how old the vehicle is as opposed to how old the vehicle needs to be for rideshare or something to that effect. You need to have a valid driver's license and vehicle insurance under your name. So if you're under a family member's insurance and you're trying to get through college, etc., you need to have your own vehicle insurance. Now there is a way to go around it, but I honestly don't know what that is. You need to have at least 1 year's driving experience. So if you have been driving for less than a year, you just got your license, you want to go out to drive for Uber Eats, it's not going to be possible until you get a full year under your belt. Now, let's talk about income expectations. To be clear, like any gig app, you are paid per order, not for your time. So that's going to be a transition you're going to need to go through as a person. You're not paid for your time, you're paid per order. And however much money you pay is dependent on how many orders you're able to complete. But the Uber Eats pay model is similar to DoorDash, where it's base pay, where the minimum is $2, $1.50 if it's a stacked order, but that's a different story. Tips and promos. Are there hidden tips on Uber Eats like there is on DoorDash? Yes, but the way it operates is completely different. So hidden tips on this, they will show you up to $8 of the tip. And they will never go above that no matter how far or how close the customer is to completing the order. That being said, if you get a 2-mile order for $10, I don't know why you're not taking that. That's a good order. Now, the problem that a lot of people have, and a lot of people would argue that makes Uber Eats not worth it, is the concept of tip baiting. Now, tip baiting is where people can put a tip on the app, have the order accepted, delivered, and in the next 90 minutes after the point of delivery, they can reduce the tip to 0 or less than what they initially gave. It's a BS feature that should never have been available on the app, but they had it because they thought that it would allow drivers a level of accountability to actually provide quality service. In the process of doing that, it led to one of the most toxic environments on social media and in the gig economy. But that also said, it doesn't happen that often. Like around here, maybe once a month. Sometimes it'll happen more often, but it's not really as often as people make it sound. But again, it's market dependent. If you're in a market where that happens a lot, that may not be for you. Now, the promos are very location dependent. So a separate video is going to be required to explain how that works. Going online for Uber Eats, because this is probably everyone's favorite thing about Uber Eats. There is no scheduling system. You want to know how easy it is to go online for Uber Eats? You go like this. That's it. I literally just pressed a button and I was online. It is easily the most flexible experience with driving for an app like Uber Eats. But because it's so flexible, it does lead to oversaturation in a lot of markets. And if that's the case, you may not see as frequent of orders as you would with DoorDash. Now, there's also the concept of driving time. Driving time is a limit to how much you're actually driving for Uber Eats. Now, I want to be clear, I did say driving time. So if you're allotted 12 hours of driving time and you're sitting online doing nothing, then it's not going to count towards your driving time. And one of the best ways to get around that is multi-apping, but that's for a different video. Now, the accept screen info is among the more informative ones. You get estimated miles, the amount of miles that you will be driving to complete the order. You got earnings and the potential for it being more. Route, which is a display of where they think you should go. Now, to be clear about route, this doesn't base it on Google Maps. It bases on their in-app GPS system. It may be slightly off. You get one of the restaurant names. The reason why I say it like that is because if it's a stacked order, they'll only give you one. And it's very easy to decline as opposed to with DoorDash or Grubhub. Receiving orders. This app is very proximity based. So with DoorDash or Grubhub, you can accept any order that is reasonably in your area. Like, let's say the restaurant is about 4 miles away. You could probably get an order from them. But with Uber Eats, the only reason you'd get an order from a merchant that's 4 miles away is because there's no drivers able to accept that order. Or it's just being declined that often. So let's say it's a decent order. It's probably going to be from a restaurant that's 2 miles or so away. That is a good thing because that allows you a certain amount of control. Because if you want to be in an area where you're accepting good orders, you go to where good orders are being received. Nicer restaurants. Quality of orders. Short distance orders are incredible. You get a $10 order for 2 miles. You're like, yes, please. However, because the hidden tip ratio doesn't change as much with longer distances like it would for DoorDash, it makes longer distance orders rough. That also being said, this app actually does do a lot to adjust the base pay because it's based on their own GPS system. After like 14, 15 miles, a lot of people just aren't willing to take those type of orders. Like I said, short distance, mid-range deliveries, top notch. Now, completing orders. Wait times at restaurants are non-existent for the most part. Uber Eats has done a phenomenal job to getting you to the merchant by the time the order is ready, at least in my area. That being said, however, if there is a wait time, it's probably because the merchant is just not on their stuff. The drop-off experience is overall super simple. If it's a leave at the door, you take a picture and it's done. If it's a meet at door, you slide, it's done. If it's a wait in car, you slide, it's done. However, there is one thing that I have to critique on a platform. There's this box. It kind of reminds me of getting hit with a bunch of pop-up ads. Like you get a delivery while you're still on a delivery and you're trying to type, hey, just dropped off your food or whatever. Or they ask you to send a message to the customer because you've been there for a bit. Well, I'm in the middle of trying to complete the order. I don't need things popping up. That's just a personal critique. And the other huge downside to Uber Eats is exactly why it's a second place app. It's not a primary by any means, and I hate to say it like that. Because of how proximity works, the driving time, and the overall frequency of orders, it's hard to make it a primary app. Even though their customer loyalty programs are much better than DoorDash or any other app, it can't ever be the primary. It has to be a second account to whatever apps you're using. Now, keep in mind, I was depending on this, building this YouTube account, because I was deactivated from DoorDash and all of these other reasons behind that. But I would love to make this just a primary app, and that's it. But the problem is the orders aren't frequent enough. It's not busy enough. And if it was a little busier for me, I would have taken a handstand. It may be busy enough for your market. You're just not gonna know until you sign up and give it a try. Because I could tell you all you want about how this app operates, but you're never going to truly know until you experience, because experience always beats theory. And again, I 100% recommend this for any gig portfolio, simply due to its flexible nature and everything else that goes into it. It's a solid app. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!